G'day, I'm back again, George Louis, on the 7th of April 2026 with today's episode of A Message of Hope. I recall I was just over 18, working a fruit store over the summer holidays. I remember a customer came up wanting peaches. Everything was on one tray, well, the good ones and the ones that weren't going to survive another maybe a week the most. She wanted a full bag, and I started loading it. She was watching more carefully than I bargained for, of course. 3 peaches in, she said something I still remember clearly. You don't need me to repeat it. You can probably imagine. But she was right. She knew exactly what she was looking at, and she named it. She called it out. I had egg on my face. Apologized and never did again. Let's just say I put in some good ones with not so good ones. What has stayed long past embarrassment is the reason she was right to call it out. She had paid for the peaches. The price tag made her a promise. What I was loading into the bag was going to break it. The scale was off. And she knew it the moment she started paying attention. Now, fast forward to today. Australia just received what looks like straightforwardly good news on the surface. So from October the 1st this year, cards, surcharges, credit cards and all that, will be banned. But your FPOS, MasterCard, Visa, debit card, prepaid, no more extra line appearing at the checkout for the simple act of tapping your card. It's estimated around $1.6 billion a year in savings for consumers. Now, this is according to the Reserve Bank, of course. That's around 3 out of 4 Australians in a recent survey said they wanted surcharging to stop. So they're hearing their complaints. I understand that. Nobody's enjoyed watching a fee materialize that wasn't on the price tag. But here's the question worth asking before October arrives. Is the cost actually disappearing? Or is it just moving somewhere you won't see it? Because the fees businesses pay to process card transactions, they don't just evaporate in October. No. They get absorbed somehow, right? Perhaps into the shelf price before you pick it up. Into the menu, into the coffee before it reaches the counter. The scale is still there. You just can't see it anymore. Now I'll pause here to see if I can ask you, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and yes, share this video far and wide. Alright, let's have a listen to this, which is the Proverbs chapter 11 verse 1. A false balance is an abomination to the Lord, but a just weight is his delight. Now, in ancient Israel, traders used physical stone weights to measure goods. An honest merchant carried the same weight buying and selling. That's good. A dishonest one carried 2 sets. Heavier when buying, lighter when selling. Interesting. The transaction looked clean. The scale looked level. Yet the customer had no visible cause for complaint. Isn't that interesting? Well, God's issue wasn't with commerce. Nope. It was with the hidden unfairness. The gap between what the scale appeared to show and what was actually true. And I want to be clear about something here. I'm not going to call the RBA dishonest. No. What rights have? I don't have any rights to say that. I'm not saying this policy is wrong. I'm not an economist. But the people behind it consulted for 18 months and are genuinely trying to simplify the system for ordinary Australians. They're trying to do the right things, I guess. Now, the RBA is also cutting the fees businesses pay to process cards. That's some real relief for small operators who've been paying proportionally more per transaction than the big boys. So that deserves acknowledgement, I say. But here's what stuck me in this week. Actually, sitting with this news. The surcharge was irritating, isn't it? You know it, I know it. I stood at checkouts and felt that the small frustration of a fee appearing that wasn't on the tag. Yep. But it made me pause. It made me notice The cost was right there. It was visible, attached to the exact moment of payment. The visible cost is the honest scale. And I'm not sure I fully appreciate that until it was about to be taken away. So when costs are hidden, people stop asking questions, don't they? And when people stop asking questions, they become very easy to move without noticing. There is something else worth knowing about this change. Because for years, people paying cash or using basic debit have been quietly subsidizing reward points of heavy credit card users. Those loyalty miles, the cashback, the points. It's partly funded by interchange fees paid by every merchant every time a card was tapped, including the small business on tight margins. Yes, sir. Including the customer who paid cash and received nothing back. So the RBA now is cutting those interchange fees significantly, which means credit card reward programs will almost certainly reduce. You can expect that. So if you hold a premium reward card, hey, check your terms before October. Of course, you got to verify with your card provider before recording. Yeah? Recording what you found out. Okay, come on. Most of us won't check. Most of us will assume the system continues as before. The simple believes everything. The prudent gives thought to his steps. And there is something I have not talked about publicly before. Okay, let's go a little bit hard. When I worked as a mortgage broker, I was owed commissions. There were legitimate commissions for work done for my own clients whose loan applications were approved for results properly delivered, because I do a good job. But you know what? The licensee owed me money. More than one licensee. And yeah, that was well over 10 years ago. I've never received it. I do have the paperwork to prove that I did those loans. There's a quiet frustration when I think about it. I mean, I won't dress that up. And if I were to calculate what that amount would be worth today with a decade of interest sitting on it, that scale would be off, significantly off. But here's what I've decided, and I want to say this carefully because I think it matters. I've chosen not to pursue it. Not because it was right, not because the scale was just, but because I've decided to let God handle it. That is not resignation. I want to be clear about that. It's a deliberate act of stewardship. I've got to spend my time properly. The God who calls a false balance an abomination sees every transaction that was ever made. Hallelujah. He keeps better accounts than I do. Right? And carrying the weight of an old injustice into every new day costs me something I'm no longer willing to keep praying for. No. There is freedom in that decision. Not a complete one, it's just a quiet frustration is real, but a real one. Yeah. While hidden costs are not unique to payment systems or 10-year-old disputes like I'm having, right? Most of us carry them somewhere in our spending. Think about it, the subscription running for 9 months without being open. It happens. The phone plan 3 years old, never negotiated. Or the credit card not being paid for in each month. Ouch. That's building interest that would embarrass the original purchase if you laid it out plain on the page. My friends, when did you last light the lamp and sweep the house? The woman in Luke chapter 15, read it back, didn't lose her coin through malice. She lost the fruit in attention. It was in the house the whole time, hers all along. But she didn't find it until she got deliberately on her hands and knees and looked for it with a lamp. And that is what a spending plan does. Not restriction, not punishment. The lamp and the broom. Yeah. So remember, I was just over 18 when I stood at that fruit stall loading bad peaches into a bag, hoping she wouldn't notice. But you know what? I was caught. She noticed. It's been more than 10 years someone put bad peaches in my bag. And I noticed. And the scale was off and I hadn't forgotten about it. Here's the difference. At the fruit stall, that was mine to answer for. And I answered for it on the spot in front of everyone. Egg on my face. That commission, I don't think that's mine to claim anymore. Both of those things are true. Knowing which is which has made more difference to my peace of mind than any financial product I've ever held. A just weight is his delight to the Lord. He holds the scales, all of them, including the ones we can't read. Now, do good to yourself. Go through your spending this week. Look for the costs that stop being visible. The ones that arrive quietly and stay quietly because nobody attached them to a line item at the checkout. That is somewhere else in the house. Just light the lamp, okay? If you are carrying the weight of something that was done to you, perhaps an old wrong, a debt unpaid. I know that feeling, right? A scale that was rigged against you and that you cannot fix. You may not be able to balance it yourself. It could be beyond ability. But you can choose who holds it. And that is a form of stewardship too. So let me ask you, are you still holding it yourself? Let go and let God help you. Thanks for being with me. I'll speak to you tomorrow.